Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. If you would like how I achieved this look, please continue watching the next clip of the video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with a friend. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for all your support. First things first, I'm starting off by outlining the top portion of my lid, and I'm just using this as a guide for my cut crease. Everything that I used in this video will be listed down below, just in case I forget to mention something. As I stated before, I'm going to use this as my guide for my cut crease, and you want to make that as dark as you possibly can, but not too dark, because you are going to go over that with the transition color. And I'm using this lighter purple shade, but not the lightest purple in the palette. It's more so of a purplish pink, and I'm going over that line as well as a little bit above it to kind of like fade it out a little bit, so that those two shades blend together. Now I'm just taking a clean eyeshadow brush and I'm just going over the top of that, fading those two colors together even further so that I can get a smooth transition. And you want to make sure that you continue to blend so that everything flows together. You don't want to just slap shadows on top of each other without blending. Now to go back and make that line a little bit darker, I'm just going back into the darker purple shade just to do that. And I'm going to go back in with this eyeshadow brush just to make sure that that is blended out a little as well. And to cut the crease, you can use any concealer that you like. I'm just using this NARS concealer because it's not the shade that I need. It is a little too bright, so I'm just going to use this for my eyelids. And I'm just following that darker shade of purple and using that as my guide. And with this step, I like to take my time because I want to make sure that it's nice and perfect and neat. You want to make sure that you're using a little bit of concealer at a time, especially if you're a beginner, because you don't want that to smear over the top of your transition color, because you will have to go back and do all the work all over again. Also, I recommend using a creamier concealer if you're a beginner to cut the crease, because you don't want to use a concealer that dries down pretty fast. This concealer dries down pretty fast, but I've used this concealer probably for like 2 or 3 looks now, so I know how fast it will dry on me. I'm using this brush to pat the concealer down. This will help it dry even faster. That way I can go straight in with my translucent powder, so that when I go to add on any shadows or anything, I don't get any creasing. And you can use any translucent powder you like, as long as it's translucent. You don't want to add any banana powder or anything like that, but you want to use not a lot, but a generous amount, and make sure that you really tapping that in and getting as close to that line as you possibly can without really going over it, and then lightly dusting that away. And then I'm also going to go back in with that other brush and make sure that that powder is really pressed in and as well as dusted away. Going back in with that dark purple shade, and I'm just adding this the same way that I would use to add on my eyeliner. And I'm just using this to make sure that I don't go over a certain area that I don't want to go over. And then I'm going to switch brushes to really like tap that eyeshadow into place as well as blend it out, because I didn't want the whole lid to be purple. And I didn't want to go over the whole lid, but you can if you want to, because that's where you're going to place the glitter at. But I wanted it to stop at a certain point. And I'm still just patting that purple into into place before blending everything out. And then I'm going to go in with my next shade. And since this eyeshadow is buildable, you can pack on as much as you want to get that desired shadow color that you're looking for. Now I'm going in with this lighter pink shade, and for a smooth transition where that purple ends, that's where I'm going to start packing that pink shade on. And you want to dip in as much as you possibly can so that it will show through. And I'm just tapping that into place and then using like a little bit of windshield wiping motions just to blend those two shades together. And I'm going to switch back and forth between both of those shades to make sure that they blend together perfect. And for this white eyeshadow, I had to go in with a different palette. I won't be mentioning this palette in the description box because I only used one color out of this palette, and that is the white. This is the only white eyeshadow that I have. And I got this palette off of Amazon. This is the Changeable Fantasy palette. This is a dupe for the Morphe James Charles palette. And if you want to see how how this palette swatches, I will have that listed in the iCards above. And I just packed that white in my inner tear duct area, and I'm just going back and forth between that pink shade and that white just to make sure that everything again blends together. And since that line got lost at the top, I'm just going back in with a eyeliner brush and I'm just adding that line back. And you don't have to add it as dark as I did, but I really wanted that to show through. And now I'm going in with my glitter glue as well as my glitter, and I'm using the NYX Pigments. This one is ice, I believe, but again, everything will be listed down below. And I'm just starting off by outlining that little portion that still has the concealer, and I'm just outlining that with the glue before going in with my glitter. And you can make that bold as fine or as bold as you like. It's totally up to you. Okay, and if you are satisfied with your look so far, go in with your eyeliner. And I like to press my eyeliner as close as I possibly can to my lash line before going in with my wing. But I use this eyeshadow shield as my guide for my wing. You don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. I just wanted this look to be nice and crisp. And I'm going to go ahead and do my lashes off camera. I'll be right back. Okay, now that that's done, let's move on to adding on our primer. I had already added on primer before I even started this video, but I ended up getting caught up in something else and forgot all about it. So now I'm just adding on a little bit more just to make sure I'm nice and covered. And don't mind my nail, I broke it yesterday, but I will be taking this set off to do another set soon. And I'm going in with some concealer, and a little bit goes a long way. You can add on a lot if you want, but for this particular look, I only needed a little. Same with the foundation, a little go a long way. It's best to get a foundation that is medium to full coverage, as well as buildable, so that if you do need more, you can go ahead and build it up without it looking cakey or heavy on the face. I'm just taking this flat foundation brush and I'm just blending it all around my face. And as you can see, that little amount just did a lot, excuse me. And be careful around your eye because you don't want to mess that up. And as y'all can see, I added on a little bit more to really make sure that I get that coverage, but I really didn't need it. And I'm still just blending that out with that brush. And this other side of my face, y'all, was done probably like 3 hours before I even started this side. And now I'm just taking my sponge and I sprayed a little bit of my setting spray and I'm just tapping that around the face, and this will help soak up any of that extra foundation. There's no foundation on this brush, but I wanted to make sure that I really press that in. And as you can see, the sponge kind of took some of the product away, but not a lot. And now I'm just adding a little bit to my forehead, but I really didn't need much on my forehead or to have to put any foundation on my forehead all together because it kind of already looked like I had on makeup on my forehead, but I didn't. And don't forget to go down the center of your brows, especially if you're a person like me who start off by drawing their brows a little bit close together so you can make sure that they're, I know they're not supposed to be twins, they're supposed to be sisters, but close as possible. And I'm also going to blend out the concealer as well. With this concealer, you want to let it sit for 1 to 2 minutes so that it can be even more full coverage. This concealer is already a full coverage concealer, so it really don't have to sit for that long. But I like my concealers to dry down a little bit so I can get more coverage. And then go ahead and blend it out. And as you can see, that already looked good with just the one coat. But I'm going to go in with another before going in and adding that NARS concealer onto my forehead, a little down the bridge of my nose, as well as my chin area. And I'm going to go straight in and blend this out. I don't like any concealer to sit for a long period of time on my forehead because I feel like it's harder to blend out. That's just me. As well as my nose. I didn't let it sit under my eye this time that long either, but you can if you want that extra full coverage look. Now I'm going to go in with another beauty blender, and I'm just taking this and really removing some of that excess concealer. And as you can see, I use way too much powder, but it's okay because I'm going to use this for my nose as well as my forehead as well as my chin. That way I didn't have too much powder sitting underneath my eyes. And I'm just using this brush to push in that powder even further before going in with my powder puff. Since I'm the type of person who don't like my under eyes to be super bright, I'm going in with a pressed powder that's similar to my skin tone. And I'm just using that to press that powder in even further to give me a more smoother look. And I like to use bronzer to contour with because I haven't found any contour shade that is not close to my skin tone shade. I haven't found one that's dark enough. So I just like to use this bronzer to add a little color back into my face. And a little goes a long way. As you can see, it looked like I added a lot, but I really didn't. And especially once you blend everything out, it will come together. And I'm going in with a different foundation brush just to blend that out even further before going in with any other powder. And as you can see, just by going in and blending that out, it already make a difference to this look. And now I'm going in and adding a little bit of blush on top. You really couldn't see the blush over the bronzer, but that's fine. I don't like too much blush anyways. Now I'm just doing the reverse contour look on the side of my nose. And I'm adding a little more powder onto my nose because I really want to make sure that I set that concealer. And I am going to go in with the banana powder underneath just to really make sure that I really set my eyes into place. And you don't have to do this step, especially if you already added on the pressed powder. And I'm going to do the same thing with my cheek area, but really I'd like to do this step to really clean up that line from when I added the bronzer. And I don't like to let this sit for too long, so I'm going to go ahead and dust that away with that same foundation brush that I used for the bronzer. And I'm patting it on as well as dusting it away. And you can also go inside your pressed powder to help dust away that even further, but I didn't. I'm going to go in with my triangle puff, and my triangle puff didn't have any product on there, but I'm just making sure that that powder is really pressed into my skin. And I sprayed my face with setting powder off camera as well as did the rest of my eyeshadow. And now I'm just moving on to my lips, and I'm using my favorite lip liner, as you can see, because how little it is, but I do have another one, and I'm just outlining my lips. I like to overline because I like to do an ombre lip. And then in the center, I'm going to go ahead and add some nude. You can leave it like this and add some gloss if you would like, but I decided to just add some nude and leave it matte. I didn't want to add anything else to it. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with a friend. Also, follow me on all of my social medias. Everything will be listed down below.